Hey, I'm Ferry Corsten, and you're watching Toasted. Hello, hello.
Yeah, I was about to say welcome, but we always say welcome, but this is your place, so thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Hey man, just to start this off in a radical way, you have some balls.
I may hope so.
You can say that again. What an album, man.
Thanks. Yeah, it was quite an adventure to get to where it is right now. Yeah.
Because I mean, the last time we talked, that was in Brazil, Tomorrowland, more than a year ago, and you were already hinting on doing some crazy stuff. Did you have the idea for this album then already?
I was playing with an idea like this. You know, I had just come up with the idea of doing something that is like a hybrid between a music album and an audiobook. And I think around the time when I spoke to you, I was just putting the right pieces in the right places. Yeah. So, but I had no idea where this was going. I had no idea that you know, that the actual narrative would also have all the voice actors for the people for the characters of the story involved. I didn't know where the actual sound of the album would go. So it was still very relatively. Like new and fresh. Just the idea, really, not the actual shape and everything of it.
It is, I think, a very tricky thing to do because it's very easy to do this wrong. I mean, if you, you're laughing, but still, I mean, if you work on this so hard and you listen back to it, you go like, well, you know, maybe the storyline isn't that strong, or maybe the narrative isn't that strong, then your whole album is fucked.
True, yeah. It's like, you know, it was also making some real decisions, you know. You could go really make the wrong decision easily by just producing it the wrong way, having the story done in such a way that it just doesn't stick with you. You know, but I think in general the people who actually are involved. Ultimately, David H. Miller, you know, he's got a good record.
Amazing record.
Yeah, so then Campbell Scott doing the narrative, so he's got quite a record as well. Yeah.
How did you get all these people together? Is it like you had this concept in mind and you had these actors in mind as well? You sent them an email and they were like, I'm on board?
No, everything happened it was all very organically, you know. It started with the idea. Actually, funny enough, my dad was the one who just gave me that sort of that idea. It's like, you know, based on the old Goriella stuff that I brought back again. He was like, you know, it's never been done anymore like that. Like not the drama, you know, like. And then he mentioned remember the War of the Worlds? That I was like, oh, there you go. That's what I need to do. That's what I wanted to do. Like the combination of bringing an audiobook together with, like, you know, music. That's it. And
this is my next question, basically, that you now very roughly undermined. Is this your War of the Worlds? Is this your Orson Welles, H.G. Wells audio version?
It almost would be, yeah. It almost sounds and looks like it's my answer, you know, to that. It's in a way it is. I guess it's definitely inspired by that whole thing, but then with a whole new story, obviously. So yeah, when I had the idea, I mentioned it to my management in the States, and then, you know, he said, like, you know what, I'm in LA. Let's look for. There's plenty of storyline writers here. But then, you know, it turned out that the David Miller was actually like an old friend of his, but he just hadn't seen him in a long time. And when they met randomly, said, hey, what are you doing nowadays? Well, you know, I write scripts for this and this and this TV show.
It's not just this and this. House of Cards is, of course, top of the bill.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, the coincidence was just really amazing. It's almost like it had to be this way. And then then my manager's like, you know, would it be cool for you to meet up with Ferry and just, you know, because Ferry has an idea that he wants to explore. And I was in the studio a couple of weeks after that in LA, and he came by the studio and we would just sit down, and it turned out he's a massive sci-fi fan, just like myself, and I think sci-fi just creates this really. That's why I think it's so popular nowadays. You know, it creates this factor of unknown. If you do that in combination with any love story, if you will. It creates that extra little thing that makes it instantly very interesting. And so yeah, we sat down, came up with the idea of like let's just hit it off. Let me write a story. You fire away at it. So we did it back and forth a few times up
So
to.
you're part of the story as well. I mean, it's also your idea.
It's yeah. There's definitely ideas and twists from my end in there, but definitely David is he's the story writer. Maybe I just gave it a few nudges to the left or to the right, but it's definitely a story. But then we came. We actually said like what, let's leave it here for now. So this is enough for me to go sit with top line writers and me to get a good idea of what the album should sound like, emotion wise basically. And yeah, I took it from there. And then I sat down with all these people that are involved. Halian is featured on a few tracks on the album.
We'll go into the singers
okay.
later because there's way more to explore here. I mean, it's really interesting. Is that okay? Now you have this storyline, but again, talking about risks. You are a DJ dance producer, and of course, a lot of people who are into your music, maybe not all of them are sci-fi fans.
Yeah.
So weren't you scared to chase them away with this concept?
Not really. I mean, it's your choice. It's your choice to listen to whatever you want to listen to. This album the actual album is what it is. It's the story, but it doesn't mean that the album will be available as a music album only. And we paid real close attention to where we would take the actual lyrics of the songs, so it wouldn't be just about the story. If you strip away the story and you listen to the song again, it's a song on its own, and that was very important that we just did it like that.
And that made me think, how does it work? So you have songs, and like you already hinted, there's a deeper love story in this music as well. Do you sit down and work with the singers that you work with and develop a song, or did you write everything yourself?
No, I'm great when I'm sitting with someone. Then it works for me. For me to start writing lyrics from scratch, no. But when I'm with someone that is just an awesome top liner, I just definitely can tag along. And I work with a couple of really, really great people. Halian, she's doing fantastic lately.
One of the biggest voices around right now.
Yeah, for sure. So she's involved on a number of tunes. Eric Lemire has been involved to take on the male vocal part.
Also a fantastic voice.
Yeah, for sure. Then from our own Dutch soil, if you will, Niels Geuzenbroek. It's he's got an amazing voice.
I think that is actually one of the outstanding tracks. I mean, being Dutch, it's easy to highlight him, but I mean, what a fantastic song.
Yeah, it came out really nice. Niels came over here to the studio and we sat down and he brought his guitar, just randomly playing some music and chords and and then he's like, I think I had this little sketch of something that I just planned for. I don't know what to do with it, but it goes a little like this, It's so I was like, oh wow, that is. It has all the right ingredients in terms of keys changes and
not to put him down, but to lift him up. Basically, is a lot of people in our office said he should do more of this stuff and basically dump his career what he had so far and go on with this.
Well, obviously Niels has done a couple of.
I work with Fed Legrand as well.
Yeah, and even was it Voice of Summer? Voice of Summer? No, what's it called? I can't remember. Yes, okay. It's totally different genre, but it was very, very well done. And so he definitely has that sort of thing. Maybe being from Holland, close to that scene anyway. But so Niels Geuzenbroek is part of it, and it's nice to have a very talented Dutch person involved as well.
Hey, we talked about David H. Miller, of course, the voiceover. You mentioned him, Campbell Scott. He's from Spider-Man and House of Cards, amongst others, but he did so many fantastic things. So I think this is basically the storyteller is what makes or breaks the concept, not the music, but the concept. So how did you team up with him? And why did you choose him, actually?
Yeah, well, it's not like I had him in mind, It's just like I said, that everything worked out really organically. Just to go back to David, I ran into him. I came across Halian, and I ran into Eric and it's like those people were not per se on my list. It just happened, and so the same thing happened with Campbell Scott. It's just yeah, what are you gonna do? I had like all these sort of ideas where to take the narrative. Am I going a bit more street, almost like faithless type of maxi jazz type of vocal, because that could be really cool too. Am I going English and elderly gentleman, that grounds it a bit more in reality almost? Or and then so I went through like tons of voice actors just to listen, and I just heard one of the commercials that Campbell had done. I was like, okay, he's got that deep calmness in his voice that this story needs to make it sound a bit more believable and real.
I think the whole thing is really gripping. I mean, you start and it grips you and you can't stop listening. Basically, I was waiting for the voice to continue. So it's very gripping. I don't want to give away the plot because I think people should find them out themselves. But what I thought was interesting is not just a love story. It's not just good versus evil or music conquers evil. There's some really personal stuff in there as well. Trust, for instance, is a song that I think is really special. So why did you choose to give this extra depth to the story?
It's like when you listen to music, that's one dimension. When you picture painting in your head or like images, that's another dimension. But actually, reading a story is another one. But actually hearing it being told out loud with the music, it's almost like watching a movie. Yeah. And I just really wanted to do something that had an extra dimension to a music album.
Did you make video footage for all the songs as well? Because it lends it so well.
Yeah, well, we didn't.
There should be a video clip for every track.
Yeah. No. There definitely should be, and we're definitely working on stuff like that. Cool. But for now, every track has its own artwork.
It's available on your website. People can check it out on your website.
Yeah. This is an unlocking website. So basically, with so many likes, you unlock the next chapter, basically. And so it's blueprint.ferrycorsten.com. And yeah, it's done by Oscar. He's a designer from the States, and he came up with some amazing sort of abstract artwork that kind of in many pieces of the artwork that he did in a very eerie way is representing the story, and I think he did a fantastic job.
I think so. Did he also do the sleeve design?
Yeah.
Just to tell people what it is basically the galaxy, the Milky Way, with a DNA strand around it, trapped inside a box in the universe.
Yeah, in a box, in our known space, basically for now.
Yeah, exactly. So of course this is an important image of the album.
Yeah, I think it was when he came up with that with that image, which he made for the title track of the album, Blueprint. I thought it spoke. It was very iconic. You see it, and it's like you get all these sort of like famous sleeves from history. And I think this one is definitely you see that, and it's iconic. You recognize
it's mysterious, and also if you look at it before you're listening to the album, you don't really get it. If you do listen to the album, suddenly everything falls in the right place.
Yeah. And there's in the end, there's of course the story itself leaves enough mystery as well in it to make you just think.